The day after demonstrations after the grand jury decision in Ferguson.
The streets are filled again tonight with protesters, thousands in D.C., in New York, Boston.
And of course, Ferguson, Missouri, since the grand jury decision came down in the death of Michael Brown.
Big time nor'easter heading our way. Snow, rain. How much snow is going to fall? What does that mean if you're trying to get out of Dodge or if you're waiting for family members to come to town?
The earlier you can get out of town, if you plan on it, the better. Coming up, we'll tell you what your options are, whether you're flying or hitting the road for making Thanksgiving dinner on time.
But we begin with breaking news coast to coast tonight. Protests just like this one in Ferguson tonight in cities all over this United States. This is a live picture of a patrol car in Ferguson, which was just minutes ago set afire by the mob. It looks like that fire is out as we speak, but thousands of National Guard members are there trying to support the police in Ferguson, trying to keep the violence to a minimum.
Yeah, we're going to take you to cities across the country. In fact, Times Square is shut down tonight, filled with people. Here in the D.C. area, more than 1,000 people on the streets marching to the White House. We're going to get to all that momentarily. But first, tonight, we've got to alert you on some rough weather on the way as you head out for Thanksgiving. And good evening. I'm Jan Jeffcoat.
And I'm Derek McGinty. So let's get it started with meteorologist Topper Shutt. Rough time ahead.
Yeah, we're looking at a red alert, okay? We're looking at rain to start and then snow to finish. And we're kind of lucky there's not even a little bit more cold air around. This would even be a more of a mess. Let's start with the warnings. Winter storm warning still in effect now for Loudoun County points west and also Frederick County, Maryland points north and west. And a winter weather advisory just to the west of I-95, which includes Montgomery County, Fairfax, and Prince William, as well as southern Fauquier back into Culpeper. But you folks well north and west, Hagerstown, and Winchester and Cumberland, that's going to be the bullseye. Why? Because you have elevation. And this storm is going to affect the entire eastern seaboard, which is why we've been saying since Monday, don't go north tomorrow, really. Okay, how much snow? East of I-95, not much. A trace to maybe an inch, more like a trace. But west of 95, even clipping northwest D.C., could be 1 to 2 inches, which includes Manassas and Fairfax, McLean, Reston, Silver Spring, and Wheaton. But Gaithersburg to Leesburg, 2 to 4 inch band. Then you get a little bit north of that, essentially up into Frederick County, 4 to 8 inches from Frederick to Hagerstown to Winchester to Cumberland to Romney. And you get out toward Hagerstown and Cumberland and Romney, you'll probably get closer to 6 to 8 inches. So the impact meter, how is it going to affect you? Well, given that it's Wednesday before Thanksgiving, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's going to be a pretty big storm. It would be a big storm just if it were going to rain. So on a scale of 1 to 10, we're going to give it a 7 tomorrow on the impact meter. We will come back and we will open up the breadometer in just a few minutes. Temperatures are falling a little bit, 38 in Martinsburg, 43 in Gaithersburg, still 51 downtown. But remember, surface temperatures do not determine what falls from the sky. We'll talk more about when the rain will kick the snow in the immediate metro area in just a minute.
Oh, wow, a 7 on the impact meter. That is no joke. And because of this big eastern storm, some stressed out travelers, they've decided to start up a brand new tradition. That is, get out of town the day before Thanksgiving.
That would be today, right? Mola Lange is live at Reagan National Airport tonight as travelers make a mad dash to get out of town. Hey, Mola.
Well, hey guys, as expected, traffic in terms of travelers here at Reagan National Airport has picked up just in the last few hours ahead of tomorrow's mad rush to get out of town. It's one of the busiest travel days of the year, one that doesn't seem like it'll be done any favors by the weather.
I just want to get home as soon as possible.
So do these people. That's why they're traveling early, a day ahead of one of the busiest travel days of the year.
Actually, it was just cheaper. But then the last couple of days with the storms coming in, we were thinking, wow, we're really lucky.
I hope everything goes smoothly.
Well, the weather might be rough, which could make travel rough. Reagan and Dulles airports say they don't expect widespread delays or cancellations because of the weather. Still, some airlines are allowing travelers from Reagan and Dulles to change flights without fees.
I was actually supposed to leave out tomorrow morning, but I got my flight changed with U.S. Airways. They didn't charge me.
For those hitting the road, Virginia DOT says they have 400 trucks throughout northern Virginia counties ready to begin treating roads as early as Wednesday morning. Maryland DOT says they're also ready. So are travelers ready to get home.
Lay in my own bed, eat some home-cooked food, you know.
And you don't want to be late or delayed in going home to do that.
I need to get there ASAP.
Right. Again, the earlier you can hit the road, if you have those plans, the better off you'll be. And you can always check out the up-to-date weather and traffic conditions throughout the area on the WUSA 9 app, which, by the way, is free of charge. live at Reagan National Airport. I'm Mola Lange for WUSA 9.
All right, Mola, thank you. Well, tonight in Ferguson, there are concrete barricades around police headquarters and thousands of National Guard members patrolling the streets and city. More than a dozen businesses are in ruins. Burned out cars line the streets and people are on foot, as you can see, following a night of violent demonstrations against the grand jury decision not to indict Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson in the death of Michael Brown.
Well, tonight, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon says they are ramping up the presence of the National Guard. And as you can see, they are out in force tonight on the streets of Ferguson, surrounding that car that just a little earlier tonight was set afire by the mob of protesters on the streets of Ferguson, Missouri tonight. Now, 3 times the number of National Guard members are out there as were in place last night when that crowd just sort of roared out of control. Today in Chicago, though, the president once again denouncing the violence.
Well, that video is incredible right there. And for the first time, we are hearing from Officer Darren Wilson. He spoke with ABC's George Stephanopoulos in an exclusive interview earlier today. Wilson said he was sorry to Michael Brown's family, but that he feared for his life that day and he would not do anything differently. He described in detail everything that happened, including the moment he says Brown punched him in the face and tried to grab his gun while he was still in his cruiser. Wilson said, quote, "I just felt the immense power he had. It was like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. That's how big this guy was."
That time, I gave myself another mental check. Can I shoot this guy? Legally, can I? And the question I answered myself was, I have to. If I don't, he will kill me if he gets to me.
Something you think that will always haunt you?
I don't think it's a haunting. It's always going to be something that happened.
You have a very clean conscience.
The reason I have a clean conscience is because I know I did my job right.
Wilson also said at no time did Brown have his hands raised, and even alleged that at one point Brown walked toward him with one hand in his shirt and would not stop and show his hands. So why did Officer Darren Wilson fear for his life?
Reporter Susan Candiotti is able to walk us through some of the evidence that the grand jury actually considered in making that ruling.
The bruises to his face don't appear serious, yet Officer Darren Wilson says the punches he took from teenager Michael Brown ultimately led him to fear for his life. Right out of the gate, a battle of wills. "Hey, why don't you walk on the sidewalk?" the officer tells Brown and his friend Dorian Johnson. According to Wilson, the teenager answers, "What you have to say." The officer testifies he put 2 and 2 together, that both teens might be suspects in an alleged store robbery minutes earlier. Wilson puts his car in reverse and calls for backup. "Hey, come here for a minute," Wilson testifies. "What the are you going to do about it?" the teen allegedly fires back. Wilson then tells Brown to get the back. The 6'4", 210-pound officer says he felt intimidated by the 6'5", 289-pound teen. "When I grabbed him," he testified, "I felt like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan." The teen, Wilson says, hit him across the cheek. Wilson, "I felt another one of those punches could knock me out or worse." He had the most intense face. It looked like a demon. Wilson describes a struggle for his gun. The teen is shot in his right hand. He runs. So does Officer Wilson. He makes like a grunting, aggravated sound. He turns. He's coming back towards me. His left hand goes in a fist and goes to his side. His right one goes under his waistband, and he starts running at me. Not all, but several witnesses back up Wilson. One witness testifies, "I seen some type of movement, and he started charging towards the police officer." Blood drops indicated by circles on this grand jury chart, showing how far Brown ran before he turned around, may have helped convince jurors.
It's really undeniable that he turned because the blood trail turned and that he came back 25 feet.
About 8 feet short of Wilson. At least 12 shots are fired. At least 6 hit Brown. The volley captured on a nearby cell phone. "I tell him, get on the ground, get on the ground. He still keeps coming at me. I'm backpedaling pretty good because I know if he reaches me, he'll kill me." But were the teen's hands up in surrender or down? For police, it may not matter.
This, walking towards somebody, that is an aggressive situation for the person you're walking towards. That's why they want you on the ground.
Wilson fires the final and fatal shot to the top of the teenager's head. His face went blank. The aggression was gone. The threat was stopped. But when a grand jury decides Wilson should not be charged, violence begins. Susan Candiotti, CNN, New York.
And now a day later, more intense protests across the nation. In Boston, state police estimate over 100 protesters gathered in March from City Hall to the State House. There were no confrontations between officers and demonstrators who chanted and made speeches.
In New York, massive crowds peacefully protesting as they marched through the streets of Manhattan, reaching 3 major bridges with just 1 known arrest.
Also tonight, protesters marching toward the Georgia State Capitol building. Earlier tonight, demonstrators shut down the I-75-85 connector. The crowd dispersed less than an hour ago.
Meantime, the aftermath of that grand jury decision also being felt right here in Washington, D.C. Tonight, peaceful protesters marched in Northwest near 5th and I Streets. They've just arrived at the White House.
Our Jim Osmond is live in Mount Vernon Square tonight, where hundreds of demonstrators have gathered. Jim?
Hiya, Jen. There was a lot of passion here tonight, but it was all peaceful, even as demonstrators took to the streets. Mount Vernon Square filled with demonstrators who were peaceful, some angry, and some weary.
I'm just tired. I mean, how many times does it have to happen where you just stay on the sideline and not do anything? Something needs to be done. We have to let those in power know that we're not going to take this anymore.
Hands up! Don't shoot! The day after demonstration follows a grand jury decision which declined to indict a Ferguson, Missouri police officer for the death of Michael Brown.
The final decision was not right, and I think there's so much more work that our country needs to do.
This is an opportunity to take the Black experience and see it as a human experience. I think for so long that it's been shown as the other, when I think that now is a real chance just to show how many people have supported it, that this is a real thing.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! The more than hour-long rally then took to the streets, heading east from 7th and K Northwest to spread their message. A police escort helped safely guide the peaceful demonstrators.
We're standing together in solidarity.
This is history in the making.
There were other protests in D.C. today in front of D.C. police as well as the Justice Department. Reporting live at downtown Washington, Jim Osmond, WUSA 9.
Well, thank you, Jim. That grand jury decision not to indict Darren Wilson will not necessarily end the officer's legal troubles. He could still face a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Michael Brown's parents, and he could even face civil rights charges that could be brought by the Justice Department. Attorney General Eric Holder says the federal investigation is still going on.
A driver's homicide conviction in a fatal car wreck is thrown out.
Her name cleared nearly a decade later, all because GM admits that car was at fault. So then, how come it took so long? Plus,
got bad credit? I'm Leslie Foster. I'll tell you why you may need one of these before you get your next set of wheels.
Well, frame by frame, this video shows the harrowing moments of an abduction caught on tape in Philadelphia. Carlisha Freeland Gaither was found alive 3 days later in a Maryland parking lot.
A GPS device is what helped lead the cops to that suspect, Delvin Barnes.
Yeah, and tonight, Leslie Foster shows us why the small tracking tool is now creating a little bit of controversy.
This device will actually remind the consumer to make their payment.
Some dealers and lenders are turning to GPS devices as a tool to get risky customers into vehicles and to protect their investment.
They're very controversial, but they don't have to be.
Advanced and patented wireless GPS. A YouTube search turned up plenty of businesses hawking this new technology. Companies like Lender Systems that say they hope to change the behavior of people who can't get a loan the conventional way.
We want to help individuals rebuild their credit. We're finding lenders are actually more apt to give a loan because of this technology.
Lenders or dealers are supposed to disclose these virtual repo devices and even have customers sign for them. We were told that in most cases the devices are not turned on unless a person defaults on their loan. But consumer advocates like Jack Gillis are concerned that some companies are more predatory than others.
Often these companies will track you all the time to be sure you're going back and forth to work, to be sure you're not taking the car outside of some kind of a boundary.
This one, it's like a relay
to shut down the vehicle.
At Route 1 Auto in Laurel, owner Dmitry Zalev says he installed a GPS device on one customer's car, but he never had to shut it off or take the car back. There are more than 2 million vehicles in the U.S. that have these devices on them, and most of them are installed at these buy here, pay here lots.
If these devices are used properly, they can be very effective.
They also come with some strings attached that may not be so clear. So be sure you know the deal before you sign for a set of tracked wheels. Leslie Foster, WUSA 9.
Laws and oversight of this industry differ from state to state. Most require consumers to have at least 30 days notice before a car is shut off for a missed payment. Lender Systems goes a step further to provide an additional 24 to 48 hours to their customers so they will not be stranded. A Texas woman has been cleared 10 years after being convicted in a car crash that killed her fiancé. Cleared after General Motors came forward to say its car might have caused the accident, information it knowingly withheld from law enforcement. GM says the Saturn that Candace Anderson was driving was among vehicles under a recall for a faulty ignition switch. Well, that flaw can cause the airbag and anti-lock brakes to fail. Anderson had been sentenced to probation for negligent homicide.
This is a red alert day. Now, WUSA 9's first alert weather.
And if you stuck your head outside right now, you would find that it doesn't seem all that cold, like snow-worthy. Probably not. Topper says, however, beware.
You're right. I mean, it's not that cold. I was sniffing the air tonight because you can smell snow.
You can smell snow.
You can smell snow.
But it's still not there, is it?
Not quite, not quite. But it did smell clean and crisp, even though temps were in the 40s.
The question is it going to stick?
It's going to stick to grassy surfaces. I'm more concerned about slick spots this time tomorrow night after the snow leaves.
Okay.
But it's going to.
We're trying to go home, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that. It will snow, I think, faster than it will melt, and that will cause some problems north and west of town late morning to mid-afternoon. Let's start with a live look outside. Another deceiving high temperature. It was 69 today. That occurred at midnight, though. Yeah. Right now, 51. That's going to be the high probably tomorrow when we do the numbers. Dew point's only 35, which is not that low. Winds are calm. If you want snow, you want that dew point in the upper 20s and low 30s. So the colder and drier air is taking its time getting in here. Snowfall potential, second call. Not much east of I-95. A trace to maybe an inch on grassy surfaces. 1 to 2 inches, though. Manassas, Fairfax, McLean, Olney, Wheaton, and even northwest D.C. A little bit north of that, Rockville, Gaithersburg to Clarksburg to Leesburg, Poolesville, and back into just north of Culpeper, a little 2 to 4 inch band. But then as you go further north, you get a little more elevation, especially west of 15 in Loudoun County and north of Frederick out toward Hagerstown and Winchester, 4 to 8 inches there. So, by popular demand, the breadometer's back. I dusted it off. And again, this is a tough call because some areas are going to see no accumulating snow, maybe in St. Mary's County, and you folks in Hagerstown could see 6 inches. So it's kind of a tough call as to, on a scale of 1 to 10, meteorologically, we're going to give it a 3, kind of in the middle. If it were going to snow everywhere, it probably would be a 6 or a 7 storm. It's a pretty classic storm, except we're lacking cold air. So just wet roads in the morning for the commute or the travel. Bus stop temperatures 38 to 44, so above freezing, no problems tomorrow morning. Even as far north as Hagerstown, you'll be above freezing in the morning. Our critical hours, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Between 10 a.m. and noon, we're going to see that rain change to snow from west to east and move across I-95. 1 to 4 inches in the metro, and 4 to 8 in the mountains and higher elevations. Okay, the futurecast. 4:30 in the morning, we have rain, okay, in green. 5:30, we still have rain. Now, by 8:30, we have a little bit of a mixture north and west of town. All snow, Hagerstown, Winchester, west. Essentially west of I-81, it's going to be all snow. Then by noon, we have rain and snow mixed, even into portions of Prince George's County. And by 2:30, all snow moves a little further south, upper Montgomery County. And by 5:30, we still have rain and snow in the immediate metro area. Even till 8 o'clock, I think we'll have a little bit of rain and snow in the metro area. So overnight, cloudy and colder, rain by dawn, but again, just wet roads for the morning commute, 38 to 44. Day planner, rain at 9 o'clock, 38. A mixture at 11 o'clock, 37, and then all snow, I think, by 1 o'clock, but still 36. So if it's 36 at the surface, it's got to snow to beat the band to accumulate. I think it will happen. Cold for Turkey Day, maybe a flurry, 41. Bright but brisk on Friday. Temperatures in the low 40s. If you're going to go shopping, I would say a coat would be a pretty good idea. And then warming up over the weekend. Nice for the Terps game. Low 50s. Great for the Ravens. Upper 50s. And then maybe a couple showers next Monday and Tuesday, but temperatures in the low to middle 50s. So there you
I
have
can't
it.
believe it's already here. Already some snow.
Good.
He's excited.
Okay, that's why we got to talk indoor sports, right?
Indoor sports
Wizards.
are good right now.
Wizards.
Indoor sports are good. Yeah, plenty of action on the hardwood tonight. The Wizards looking to continue their best start in 40 years, trying to protect home court. A look at that game, plus some breaking Redskins news coming up next in sports.
Now, WUSA 9 Game on Sports with Kristen Brissett. Brought to you by Xfinity.
All right, before we go to the hardwood, some breaking news out tonight. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting that Colt McCoy will start in place of Robert Griffin III this Sunday in Indianapolis. Schefter is saying, though, that RG3 still remains a part of the Redskins' long-term plans. But as of now, he's saying Colt McCoy going on Sunday in Indy. We'll, of course, follow this story for you. The quarterback's talking tomorrow in Ashburn. Tonight, the Wiz hosting Atlanta in the Verizon Center. Wizards trying for a late surge. Down 14, Bradley Beal drives, misses the layup, but is there for the rebound and the foul. He had 13 points tonight. Next possession, John Wall, some fancy moves, goes down hard, but so does the basket. Wall with a double-double tonight, Wiz down 9. An off night, though, for the Wiz. Offensively, they did have a season-high 25 turnovers. Hawks take this one, 106-102. Maryland Terrapins in the championship game of the CBE tournament. I have a feeling this team's going to be good this year. Second half, Jared Nickens bricks the three-point attempt, but Des Wells gets the rebound and the putback. Later, Des Wells with a skip pass to Nickens, and the freshman buries the three. Right now, the Terps are up 10 late in the second half, and that is against their first ranked opponent of the season. Virginia hosting Tennessee State. Not much of a test for the Hoos. In transition, Justin Anderson buries the three-pointer and gets fouled on this one. And then with time winding down in the first half, Justin Anderson again gets the ball in the right corner, buries another three to end the half. 20 on him for the night. Virginia wins huge, 79-36. Former Washington Redskin turned sports broadcaster Fred Smoot won't be appearing on the airwaves anytime soon. Smoot was arrested over the weekend and charged with misdemeanor domestic assault. The victim, his girlfriend, Valerie Jackson, posted photos of her injuries to Instagram. Just a warning, we're about to show you those pictures. In police reports, the victim, Valerie Jackson, claims Smoot grabbed her during an altercation Sunday morning. However, Jackson claims there have been 3 incidents in recent months, and these are photos from those 2 other incidents. Smoot's lawyer said in a statement that the charges come from the, quote, vindictive actions of a disgruntled ex-girlfriend. Richard Sherman is at it again. This time, though, the Seahawks cornerback targeted the NFL. After teammate Marshawn Lynch was fined $100,000 for not speaking to the media, Sherman presented reporters today with a little parody criticizing the NFL's hypocritical policies.
You know, the other day, Marshawn Lynch got fined $100,000. Did you know that? $100,000. And it's like, they wouldn't even paid him $100,000 if he had talked. If he had spoken. Doug, do you think they would have paid him $100,000?
No, they sure wouldn't have.
Jeez Louise. But you know who does pay me a lot of money? Beats by Dre, the wonderful headphones that I wear.
I like those headphones.
But the league doesn't let me say anything about them. Doug, why is that?
I don't know. Sounds kind of hypocritical to me.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit hypocritical.
Of course, you remember
who was doing the talking back there?
Yeah, Doug Baldwin, one of the receivers, is back there. But you remember the Beats headphones, they're not allowed to wear the logo anymore.
They're sponsored by somebody else, right? What is it?
Bose, I think.
Yeah, Bose. There you go.
Yeah, but they're supposed to cover it up, but all the players wear them. So just kind of taking punches at the hypocritical.
The hypocritical, no fun league.
No fun.
Yes, indeedy do. We've got to take a break. So you start Colt McCoy, and he stinks up the joint.
What do you do?
And then, what do you do?
Quarterback's talking tomorrow at 11:30. We'll have that for you.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. That's our broadcast. See you tomorrow.
Letterman's next. Make it a great night, everybody.